Alright, this is a Dave the Diver video. This is recording the final moments of Dave the Diver. There was a final battle. It took me to this point to get to. The very beginning, I kind of did not like the quote-unquote combat in Dave the Diver. I mean, I was fine with like the fact that the sharks were a little hard and that you had to kind of use special things to get them or to catch them. But I remember the first time it had me like actually fight somebody. I think it was pirates. I thought like, what? Like, what kind of game is this that I have to fight? And I never really liked it from then on. All the different missions and bosses and weapons and stuff like that. I really kind of just liked the, fishing and selling it in the restaurant part of the game. But you had to do this anyway. This is me with the sniper rifle, which actually it did have a use here in the final battle because it helped me clear these things out pretty easily. But I thought it was interesting how the final battle in Dave, they come up with a completely new weapon for you to use. So whatever you brought with you doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if it's weak or not upgraded or the net or the sniper, whatever you thought you were going to use, you're not. Instead, you're going to use Duff's new, whatever it was, the drone gun. So this is the final enemy. It's not really a character from the story. It's not that guy who was the captain of the sea defender / dolphin killing group. It also wasn't the character from the past of who was bad, the bad guy from the past with the sea people. Although it is, I suppose, this creature was created in part by what that bad guy did. But I forget the details of that. Duff, I like Duff. He's funny. I liked a lot of the cutscenes involving Duff when he would upgrade the weapon, particularly the ones where he would jump into a pool and then shoot his guns. I thought that was kind of funny. I like the Doctor too. Did like the cast of characters in this game, and I like their funny voices and the things that they say. And I wonder, I know this is like a Korean game or made by a Korean studio. I wonder if when they talk, the audio is just these weird sounds, but I wonder if those sounds sound more like Korean words. They don't really sound like English words, except that when the chef makes a plate in the restaurant, he seems to say dish. I don't know if that's actually what he's saying. So the one thing I did like about these Dave battles was that they were pretty easy. I mean, they weren't too hard. Most of them I had to replay. I think most of the Dave battles I actually did die the first time, but then I beat it the second time. A lot of times because when I would first encounter the boss, I would not have full health. And then I would not have full health necessarily or full ammo. But then if you die, they start you over and you do have full health and you do have full ammo. So usually that made the difference. And then I was able to beat the boss. Pretty sure I lose to this guy and have to fight him again. Probably shouldn't have included the entire length of the battle on this video, including my dying part. I should have just included the winning part. I read online that you don't actually have to use this charging gun here. That you could beat this guy using the same old little shots that you used in the last phase of the battle. And I don't know, maybe that would be better, I'm not sure. The Stella Laser. This was a really interesting game. I ended up playing almost 50 solid hours of it. I don't really know where the time went, because I don't feel like I did 50 hours worth of stuff in this game. I guess I did. I did spend a lot of time just underwater, swimming around. I had a lot of, 20-minute, sometimes even 30-minute dives, just trying to gather as much stuff as I could. A ton of stuff that ultimately went unused, And I don't think this game really, one of the things that this game I think doesn't really do is give you a good use. Once you realize that you've got all this stuff that you're never going to use and never going to need. Like, I had so many fish ingredients, caught fish, that I was never going to use. And there was really no use for them. I mean, you could use them to upgrade its own dish, but so many of the dishes, even fully upgraded, were totally outclassed by other dishes. So, like one of the first fish you get, for example, is like the yellow tang. There's really never any reason to use the yellow tang, because you almost immediately get stuff that's better than it. And even if you fully upgrade the yellow tang, it'll never make enough money to be worth anything. So, but if you get 2 yellow tang in the fish farm, then they're going to start producing yellow tang for a long time. Anyway, so I had a lot of... There you go, that's me dying. I had a lot of useless fish towards the end of the game. I guess I could have tried selling it, but my big criticism of this game is that there was ultimately not enough reason to try to make money, which I thought was fun. Because the game had some depth in terms of figuring out how to maximize how much money you could make. It had some depth. You could make enough money just to buy the upgrades to the suit and to be able to pay for, the couple of things that you have to buy to advance the story. You could make enough money to do that just selling single dish items. Like, you could just sell shark meat, you could just sell marlin meat. You could just sell whatever the fish farm was producing, and you would make enough money. It would be fine. But if you want to get into the extravagant dishes, the ones that have multiple ingredients, the ones that require condiments, like soy sauce, and salt, that kind of stuff. If you wanted, and definitely if you wanted to use the ones that required seaweed, there were a lot of complicated things you had to do. Like farming seaweed and growing the seeds. You can. There was that one vendor you could see to sort of upgrade your seeds, and then you could sell them or grow them in the seaweed farm. And then you needed to buy bay. You needed to find bay. That's the currency in order to buy that. I mean, it got pretty complicated and pretty deep, but it was ultimately for nothing. Because even though those dishes, especially if you upgraded them, could sell for a lot of money, there was no point in having money. Beyond a point, there was very little point in having money. And so that was kind of my problem with this game, because I got to the point where I had a lot of money. I was able to make close to 100,000 gold or dollars, whatever it is, every night. Excuse me. Between the main restaurant and the other restaurant, we were able to make $100,000 combined, and there was nothing to buy. All you could do is upgrade the staff, which was useless after a certain point. I mean, you needed to upgrade them to get to the point where you could make the 100,000, but then once you were there, upgrading additional staff didn't do anything. People online said, well, you can buy stuff for inside the sushi bar, and there were like cosmetic things, but I mean, maybe I didn't buy enough. Maybe there were more things I could have unlocked, but I didn't see a lot of like expensive things inside the sushi bar, and nothing that really seemed all that cool or worth buying. Alright, so I guess we've entered a new phase here of this battle. There's like several phases. This one we're moving. This is kind of very much like an old school, arcade game from the days when graphics looked, not even like this. This is like an old 80s arcade game. I'm surprised I did as well as I did. I guess people who have been playing games like this forever, Life Force, I played a lot of that when I was a kid. I guess if you played a lot of Life Force, this seems kind of similar to that, really. Yeah, I think this is like one of these brilliant games, and I give these people tons of credit for inventing this. I almost wish they could just, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a sequel someday, but I wish that they could have just made it a little bit differently. So given you more reason to focus on the restaurant part and focus on the money-making part. Maybe you could have had multiple branches. Maybe you could save up money and bought another branch, and then maybe you could have bought. Maybe they could have, even after the main story was done, maybe they could have, sold you higher and higher, like levels of weapons. Like that'd be pretty cool if there was a harpoon gun that you could buy eventually that could just like capture a shark. Just shoot it with the harpoon gun and you just capture it, something like that. And maybe that would cost $1 million or something, but. Give you a reason to try to save up money. Just, I don't know, give you some fake things to work for. But they never did that, so. There was no point. Excuse me. So this video is a combination of the final battle. I died. I mean, it was very generous the way it just let you start over. There were a lot of checkpoints during the different phases of this battle. I never heard of anyone. I looked up a few things about this game on Reddit. I never heard anybody complaining that the bosses were too hard, so they did kind of make them easy on purpose, I guess. That's nice of them. But anyway, yeah, this video is 2 parts. The first part is this final battle, and then I think I did one sort of last night at the restaurant, just to see what I could do. I read on Reddit about people who, even though I'm claiming there's no point in continuing to play this game, apparently there are people out there who did continue to play the game for quite a long time, and they did consider it to be worthwhile goals to do things like promote every employee to level 20. And upgrade every dish and things like that. As soon as the friends show up, the friends are about to show up here in a minute. As soon as these friends show up, I remember thinking that probably the hard part of this battle was over, but I didn't quite know. I was really hoping that it was. Come on, friends. I thought those guys got speared. You know, those guys with the tridents. There's no way they're gonna just let me get attacked without at least helping. So they do help, and this final shooting part is pretty easy. Some of the last levels of Dave had some puzzles. They were extremely easy. I don't even know if you can really even consider them to have been puzzles, for how easy they were. It's a strange game because it's like, you know, very easy on the one hand, but you also get the sense that it's not really meant for kids, like young kids who probably would like an easy game. Young kids, I think, would find this very boring. So it's really like a game for old people, but who just like do not want to be challenged in any way. That's kind of funny. It won't recover from that state. Isn't that a funny way of saying like it's dead? I remember when he said that, my immediate thought was that it is going to come back, because what a strange thing to say. But it didn't, so good. I was very happy to see this screen and to know that all that silliness was over. Megalograptus. Is that the name of the final thing? Megalograptus? And I guess you do capture him, so that means there must have been a dish that you could make out of him, but I'd never tried to make it. In fact, my final night at the restaurant was kind of... I mean, I don't know. I guess what I did, the menu that I did was kind of fitting, kind of not fitting. Probably should have sold the Megalograptus. I probably should have tried to come up with an extravagant array of menu items, but instead I think I just went with my one tried and true item, and I just did the one item and I just put it on auto supply. Because I figure it's the final night, I don't care about wasting a few. There's all your characters. They were all pretty funny. The only guy I really didn't interact with very much at all was the guy who was in charge of like the collecting the cards, collecting the different fish cards. I didn't do very much of that. And I didn't do very much of like the whole Fishmon thing. The Pokemon, whatever that was. I didn't do hardly anything with that. I don't think that guy's actually here, though. Maybe he is. Yeah, that guy. Is that the Fishmon guy? I think it is. I didn't do very much of it. These are funny scenes. I thought it was interesting that this game is about sushi. About like the fine art of cooking sushi. It's not really something I've ever thought much of in my life. I don't think much of fine cooking. I don't do any myself. To the extent that I do think of fine cooking, or that I think that I would like to eat fine cooking, sushi is never what I'm thinking. And the little experience that I do have with sushi, I'm not too excited about it. But I wonder if I did go to like a really nice sushi place, like they had a guy like Bancho, would he make something that I liked? I don't know. I like this final scene with Dave. Dave is one of the great characters, I think, in video game history. Alright, so here is an ending part that I skipped. I guess not enough of it. This mini game part where you're in space. So skip that. I mean, I did it, but I'm not going to include it on the video. That's what I mean. But I skipped it. Alright. Let's go. The longest, most useless video I've ever made. Okay, here we are. Final night at the restaurant. I don't dive. I don't go to the farm. I don't do anything. I don't do any things I would normally do. I just skip to the nighttime. Go to Bancho Sushi. You can see I have $511,000. Absolutely nothing to buy. And I'm going to make my menu the tried and true item for me, which was always this thing, the tropical fish sushi set. And I'm just going to put it on auto supply, so I've got enough to run it the whole night. I had my pretty cool kitchen staff here. These guys would handle everything. All I needed to do was the wasabi. Some parts of this game I never really learned to do, like I never made cocktails. I think I poured beer only one time. I did make tea in the beginning because I had no choice. But as soon as the staff could do these things, I started having the staff do them. I used to have a staff guy that did the wasabi, but I realized wasabi is not a bad thing for Dave to do. Better to have guys that can clean and make drinks and just let Dave handle the wasabi. But I would still serve some dishes every now and then. Figure that couldn't hurt. Serving the same dish is also easy because it means you never get stuck with Dave having to go all the way to the end of the bar. When Dave has to go to the end of the bar, you're wasting serious time. If you have a lot of different dishes, then that can happen because the guy at the end of the bar you can pick up the dish that the guy at the end of the bar wants. But if everyone's got the same thing, just give it to the first person. Move on. See, there was some depth to this game and to the gameplay and to the strategies and stuff, the things you did, but none of it ended up mattering. I was thinking to myself, like, what would be the way to play this game so that it would matter? And I think it would all be about trying to finish the game in the minimum number of days possible. In my case, I went quite long. It's like December 26th, I think. December 27th. So I played it for a long time. Anyway, look, $60,000. I made $60,000. And then they made 66. So add that up. That's a lot. Alright, that's it for Dave the Diver. Great game. I hope to find more games like this. Quick and easy, although this was surprisingly not quick, but easy, fun, lighthearted games to get me through while I wait for the next, FromSoft or whatever. Alright, that's it.